Hello world, the multifunction hacking tool, otherwise known as the Flipper Zero, is in a bit of trouble. It's pretty much been banned in Brazil, and is there a danger of other countries doing the same? Brazil's ban is confusing to say the least. Whilst the Flipper Zero is armed with an array of hacking capabilities including NFC, RFID, Bluetooth, infrared and more, none of this is new. This has all been possible for years with other, more specialized pen testing tools for which no such ban exists. The Flipper Zero brings no new capabilities to the table per se, though where it comes into its own is it combines a subset of these capabilities and ditches the scary looking command line interfaces of the other tools in favour of a more friendly user interface, with added dolphins for good measure. The Brazilian ban was only discovered after Brazilians who bought a Flipper Zero via perfectly legitimate sites noticed on their order tracking that after their order arrived in Brazil, it was marked as being audited by Anatel. Anatel is essentially Brazil's version of the FCC, a government organisation responsible for making sure that imports comply with radio frequency regulations. Shortly after Anatel started these audits, people's Flipper Zeros were flat out seized by the Brazilian government altogether. And this isn't an isolated incident. A whole subreddit has popped up dedicated to Brazilians who just want to get their hands on the Flipper Zeros they paid for. So what's going on here? The reasons for these seizures were initially quite vague, with Anatel saying this type of product cannot be approved, whatever that means. However, eventually there was some clarification, with buyers being told that the Flipper Zero has been used in the country by malicious users in facilitation of a criminal offence or misdemeanour, and so according to Brazilian law, importing them has been banned for the protection of Brazilian citizens against criminal actions. Reading this, I was surprised. I mean, I'm not aware of the Flipper Zero being used to actually commit crimes. If I was, I probably would have made a video on it by now. So are there any documented cases of crimes being committed with the Flipper Zero? If we head over to Flipper Zero's breeding grounds, TikTok, there are most definitely a lot of videos of people using their Flipper Zero to be very annoying, whether that's turning off TVs using the Flipper's universal remote feature or opening a Tesla's charging port. But these aren't crimes. However, there are more worrying videos of people completely unlocking cars with a flipper, which could understandably attract the attention of law enforcement, but these videos are mostly fake, because recording a key fob signal and then just replaying it to unlock a car hasn't been possible since the 90s, thanks to the introduction of rolling codes. Nowadays, each time a key fob is used, it generates a unique unlock code that just won't work twice, so recording and replaying it is useless. However, some car models do have vulnerabilities in this system, as shown in a recent Black Hat presentation when researchers demonstrated how they were able to unlock certain models. But the researchers here are using a HackRF, which isn't the subject of a ban, and whilst this hack has been replicated on a flipper, it's by no means unique to it. In fact, there are no documented cases of crimes actually being committed with the Flipper Zero, even when we account for the existence of Flipper Zero Unleashed, a fork of the official firmware which removes the artificial limitations baked into Flipper Zeros to ensure they comply with radio frequency laws, enabling them to work on a wider range of the RF spectrum and interface with a larger array of electronics. Okay, so flippers haven't been used in crime yet, but surely there's a decent risk of it, right? Well, let's put the Flipper Zero to one side for a moment and look at just how many crimes have been committed with other physical hacking tools. Take the bad USB as an example. They've gained a ton of media attention, been featured on hacking TV shows, and no doubt tens, if not hundreds of thousands of these things have been sold across different variations, the most famous of which being the USB rubber ducky. Since these things came onto the scene roughly 10 years ago, just how many documented cases are there of bad USBs being used for evil? I counted 2. Once in 2020, when a Russian cybercriminal gang mailed out ransomware-laden bad USBs to companies under the guise of them containing a $50 Best Buy gift card, and again in 2022, when the same cybercriminals targeted defense firms in a similar plot. Whilst no doubt there will, of course, be other instances of bad USB-enabled crime that just haven't been publicly disclosed, the fact there's only a couple of known instances where these things have been used maliciously is a symptom of the fact that cybercriminals just prefer to work remotely. Physical cybercrime, whatever tools are used, is rare. But anyway, back to the Flipper Zero. The reason for this Brazilian ban is almost certainly just down to the one thing that other hacking tools don't have. Hundreds, if not thousands of videos on social media of the Flipper Zero being used to mildly annoy people. But the fake videos of car hacking definitely haven't helped with this moral panic. I also found a video which has 500,000 views of someone controlling traffic lights with a flipper, but in this case the flipper is just being used to control some LEDs, which themselves do the actual magic of mimicking the transmitters that emergency vehicles use to change traffic lights. Whilst this video might spook a lot of people, the fact a Flipper Zero is being used to do this is irrelevant. Pretty much any electronics development board could have been used. But anyway, luckily for the Brazilians affected by all of this, Anatel isn't destroying seized flippers, but is rather returning them to the shop they were bought from so buyers can receive refunds. And there's no news of those trying to import them into Brazil being fined or charged with anything. But the question remains, is there a danger of this anti-flipper sentiment spreading? Well, the only instance I could find of another government agency even mentioning the Flipper Zero was from the state of New Jersey, but that was warning flipper customers themselves about fake online stores claiming to sell the devices, something I covered in a previous video. And this notice is a little more nuanced, acknowledging the Flipper Zero is a legitimate tool which has the potential for intentional misuse and abuse. However, a German version of eBay has reportedly banned the sale of Flipper Zeros on their site, and I do have some experience of being penalised for selling pen testing tools. I operate a site that sells a small selection of such tools, and in 2020 my PayPal account was suspended because those tools, PayPal claims, go contrary to their terms of service. Which is strange, because the terms of service mention no such pen testing tools, and other companies, whose products have the exact same capabilities, continue to use and have been using PayPal for years. I of course pointed this out to PayPal, but received no response. Oh, and not only was my account suspended, but PayPal dipped into my balance and took £2,000, roughly $2,500 for the apparent violation of their acceptable use policy. But hey ho, there's not really much I can do about that, and I think when dealing with pen testing tools, you kind of have to accept that misunderstandings seem to be an occupational hazard, which Flipper Zero is now getting a little taste of. Though it's unlikely that this will become a more widespread issue, as Brazil does tend to be a bit of an outlier when it comes to their import laws. I'm pretty sure they're the only country with an almost complete ban on the import of used consumer goods, and their import taxes are crazy, with people having to pay a 60% import tax on their Flipper Zeros, which never end up arriving. This video was made possible by Linode, who are giving you a $100 60-day credit just for signing up. Linode is essentially your Swiss Army knife for cloud computing. If it runs on Linux, it'll run on Linode. One great feature of Linode is their app marketplace, which makes it super easy to spin up servers with pre-configured software. Use Linode's Kali Linux app to quickly spin up a fresh instance of Kali. The installer makes it easy to configure the basics like VNC passwords, whether you want a desktop environment, and so on. Linode can run almost anything by providing all the tools a developer really needs at competitive prices. Use the link in the description now to claim your free $100. As always, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good one.